think this is working. I think it's working. Hello, everyone. Is it not working? It is working. Welcome to a new Let's Play with me, your host, Tim. And today, we're going to start playing through the Wylde. This is the Warrior of Ras III. Copyright 1982. There will be some prep here that you can skip by going to the comment section down below, where you will find a comment from me, pinned over here, which will have a timestamp in it. Click that timestamp to be jumped ahead where we click on Start Game, or whatever it is that's going to pop up for this. We're going to talk about what the Wylde is while we're playing it, and any special stuff I'll be doing while we're playing this game today. Before we go any further, you should also know that in a few seconds, maybe like 30 seconds to a minute, we're going to get the introduction music to play. So I'm not going to do any talking when that's happening. And I'm going to also be trying to make sure what's good. Is this recording? I can't really tell. It is. Okay. And you can, I think, see my cursor also. All right. Good. I have to keep moving the cursor around or I think my editing software would get confused. The Warrior of Ras III, the Wylde, is a Commodore 64 game that I played a great deal of when I was a wee little lad back in 1982. Probably before like half of my subscribers were born. I was playing video games on the Commodore 64. All right, that was amazing. Good God, I swear, back in 1992, I swear that took like 6 minutes to load. Not as fast as it was, like which was a minute and 15 seconds or so for us. All right. Anyway, all right, so the Warrior of Ras III is a role-playing game. We will be creating a new character, and that character will start in the city. And our objective will be to go into the Wylde and retrieve the treasure for the wizard. And then we had to bring that treasure back to the city. If I had to try to describe the game, it would be as if you're playing like a, let's say, the original Final Fantasy VII, and there's a world map. You walk in the world map in turn-based, and you can have random encounters. The random encounters bring you to a different combat map, and the combat there takes place on a grid. So I did a bad job choosing Final Fantasy VII as a game to compare it to, because it's not anything like that. It is a little bit like Final Fantasy VII, kind of, because the game has a action point / movement system for the actual fights. And it's mostly random encounters. You walk a space, and suddenly there might have been something there. You're brought into a combat screen. There are a few areas where you're almost guaranteed to have a fight, however. There's a wide variety of creatures that we will be fighting out there in the Wylde. Wolves, dogs, goblins, gargoyles, wyverns, lords, cave bears, cockatrices, gorgons, wraiths. Several of these creatures have unique special powers which can kill us outright, like in the case of a gorgon, turning us to stone, draining our levels in the case of like a vampire. But all of them have to reach us. They have to get close to us and attack us in melee. I don't think there's a single creature in the game that has any range capability in it. Thank God. Because it would be really difficult otherwise. The game's not terribly well balanced, but it's not a horrifically unbalanced game either. We don't get really much choices when it comes to character creation, which you'll see when we get into the game itself. We always will play a warrior. Or at least we start out as that, and then we could try to add some sort of challenges to the game to only use magical items when we get them in order to make us play like a wizard, for example. But otherwise, it's your gear that you find and the equipment you purchase determines what type of person that you are. It has a rather unique, not so much I suppose anymore, games have been around for 40 years, It's been almost 40 years. 40 years. This game is almost on top of the hill itself since this game was out. Good God. But I was in the mood to play this game. I've played through this game once on my channel many years ago, back in I think 2012 or 2014. I've taken down that playlist. It wasn't very good. Like 8 or 10-minute videos and about, I think, 12 or 20 of them. This is going to be a longish Commodore 64 game as well. We can probably expect this to take at least 2 hours for us to get the amount of treasure required to purchase a magic sword and then try to get up to that treasure, assuming that we don't get lucky and find something like a wand of fire or a ring of fire bolts or something of the sort to assist us in that final fight. We'll talk more about that when we start playing the game. I'm in the mood to play this, though, because I took down my original playthrough of this game, and I like to play it again. I've played it in the past as well, so this won't be a blind LP, and hopefully I can do a good job explaining things to you guys as well. Just in case one of you guys actually like this game enough that, from what you see, that you go out there and find a ROM of it and decide that you want to play it. What else is there that we should talk about before we get going? There's no game text. There's no game... Well, I'm sorry, there is game text. There's quite a bit of game text, I suppose, if I stop to think about it, because it explains to you if you hit the creature, how much damage was done, if the creature is dead or not, what the creatures are doing in combat, and so on and so forth. But there isn't a whole lot of lore. In fact, there's almost none whatsoever, other than the first starting sentence we'll find when we begin the game itself. Most of it is just statuses telling you what's going on and how many hit points you lost because you forgot to eat again. There's no books to read. There's no conversations to have with anyone in game because we won't find anyone else in this game world. But I'll try to make it entertaining for us to play. I've got a playlist of different sound effects and combat music that I think I can get away with when I upload this to YouTube. On that note, though, if you see any commercials on this video, I have chosen poorly, as it were. Now, that said, I don't monetize any videos on my channel. I don't add any commercials to anything either. So if you guys have seen any of such on this video or any of my videos in the past, I apologize for that. I hate commercials, and I don't want any monetization through my YouTube channel. So if you guys have witnessed this, I apologize. Someone else put those commercials on this video due to probably copyright claims. On that note, most of the sound effects I will play are sound effects I have either recorded myself from outside, or they're ones that have come from a different game of some sort. The sound effects would be like from GeneForge, which will be having, for example, the sound of a city played with people talking. You hear coins clinking, goats making goat sounds, whatever those are, screaming goats. No, there's no screaming goats here. But in any case, you get the general idea. But still, when I had recorded this game back in 2014, those sound effects were claimed as coming from various music by like Project CD Baby or something like that. A supposedly copyright holder for a soundtrack from a rap song or techno song that they had, which actually wasn't anything that I had played up here, but I'm a very tiny YouTube channel. I can't fight those claims when they happen. Anything else we should talk about? I'm playing the game in particular, and probably a few other Commodore 64 games, over the next 2 weeks, because mid-August, I like playing creepy games on my channel, starting from mid-August through October to mid-November, or games that have a odd or... I don't know how to describe it. Very atmospheric feeling to it. Something with... if it can't be creepy, then it's has an odd mystique to it, because I like playing these types of games during the fall. But I have a stretch of 2 weeks to play something else. It's not enough time for me to finish... It's not enough time for me to finish one of the other games that I am meaning to start. Tides of Numenera or Sacrifice. And so I figured we'd sneak in some Commodore 64 games in the meantime. And with all that said, assuming my voice is coming out well, we'll go ahead and start a new game. Give me a few seconds to check on my voice. Alright everyone, it sounds like my voice is coming out okay. I am forced to use OBS Studio to record this game. So my voice might sound a bit odd in the microphone compared to using fraps. I think it's still acceptable though. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first question we are presented with is, do we wish to play a saved game? I don't have a saved game disc, and I don't have a snapshot of the last time I played this game, which would have been almost 8 years ago. So that we're going to say no to this. Do we should play a saved character? Well, I still don't have a save game disc, as I just said, and we don't have an image, so that's going to be a no for this too. What's the difference, I hear you asking, between a save game and a saved character? If you do manage to beat the game, or you get so far in the game, and you want to save this character, but make another attempt at completing the game, you would save your character to disk as opposed to saving your game to a disk. Then you could import your character into a new game, and then, well, start over from the city, which we will be in a few seconds. In other words, if you want to play the game multiple times, if you beat the game with a character, export that character or save that character, and then create a new game, relaunch the game, make a new game, load the character in it, and you can do the whole thing over again with a much higher level character, assuming that you did indeed beat the game. All right, so anyway, we're saying no for this. All right, everyone, let's try this. So we are in the city of our origin. The wizard wishes us to find the velvet emerald of Quazoop, or Quazop. Kazop? Is the Q silent? Azop. The velvet emerald of Azop. It's probably a cleaning rag. In any case, he wants us to find it. And thankfully, he's marked on our map where it's located. We will see our map when we depart the city. There's several things that we can do here in the city. We can leave it. We can quit to leave the game altogether. We can buy stuff at the market. We can stash any treasure that we did not spend. And we can retrieve any treasure that we have stashed. Right now, since we're just starting out, we have treasure, but we got nothing else. So let's go ahead and buy some equipment. Over here, we can see what's for sale. We can also see how much it costs, and how much of it we already possess in our inventory. We have two options when it comes to purchasing equipment. We can hit the @ symbol on our keyboard, in which case the game will outfit our inventory for us, with everything it thinks a starting adventurer would probably want. This is the equivalent of, let's say, in Dwarf Fortress, where you say, I don't want to spend the time to individually select what I want. Just give me the standard stuff for starting Dwarf Fortress and off I go. It's basically like a quick buy. We would end up with like a suit of armor, probably 2 or 3 swords, 20 or 30 days of food, a single pack, a cross, etc., etc. In my case, though, I'm going to hand buy things rather than hit standard packs, so I can show you guys how that works as well. So, first off, for our adventure, we'll probably want some armor. So, let's hit A to select armor from this list, and we'll purchase one of it. What type of armor is it? It's the type you wear. I suspect it's something like half plate, because it gives you armor defense on every body part of your character, as opposed to, say, just your chest. And I think it's heavy enough that I wouldn't consider it something like chainmail, or scale mail. So I think that's what it's supposed to represent. We'll probably want a sword or two. Let's go ahead and buy just one of them to start. For food, well, we'll need, let's start with 16 days of food. Sorry, 16 rations. Whenever we stop to eat in the game world, which will be at least once at the start of a day, we must consume a ration. Sometimes you'll need to eat twice during a day, and sometimes not. So this will give us at least, well, probably close to at least 10 days before we run out of food. We need a pack. We're not allowed to carry as much treasure. We're not going to buy a cross, not to start, because if we run into anything that would require a cross for us to help us fight it, I'd rather just run from those encounters. So, the next item up is a dirk. So, the last time I played through this game, I came up with an awesome name for the character, and we're going to use that name this time as well. Our guy's going to be called J-Dirk. That's his name. And as such, we're going to buy a few dirks for his namesake. Let's buy 6 of them. Actually, let's buy 5 of them. We're not going to buy a mirror, because if we have to fight things that require a mirror to safely engage them, I'd rather just run away from them at the early parts of the game. We don't have enough money to buy a magic sword, so that stays there. We will buy a shield. We will buy a spear. We'll buy 2 spears. And we'll buy a coat. That gives us 830 treasure. Why don't we buy a little more food? 2 more days. Okay, or 2 more rations, and that will be good. That would be good. Okay, so let's hit enter. And now we'll stash. I'm going to stash 500 treasure here. Let me make sure if I have... Okay, let's stash another 90. Alright, and I think that's all we need to do in the city. Let's go out there and get our Velvet Emerald. That sounds so rich in a way. Alright, everyone. Welcome to the game world. Let's go ahead and explain everything that we see here. The date. The date starts at 0, and I believe goes to day 365, and then cycles over to 0 again. The later months and the very early months, dates, for example, I think like from 350 to probably 60, maybe a little bit more, are considered to be winter months or days. And if you were not wearing a coat, you could take damage while walking around in that very icy weather. Enough to kill you very quickly. If the date is around 140 to 200 or so, I think that time frame is the summer. And if you're wearing armor or a coat, you take damage because you are overheating. So you won't want to use those items then. The date is randomly chosen the moment I think we walk out of the city. It is hour 8. This is 8 in the morning. We will wake up every morning at 6, I think, to begin our quest for the day. And we go to bed automatically at hour 18 or later if we were being held up because of, say, rain or bad weather. The terrain? Currently this says P. We are in the plains. The weather is M. I believe that is mild. And lastly, we have the bounty is on wolves. So for our adventure, for this entire next several, probably 2 or 3 videos, the next several hours, for our attempt to get all the way up from there to this X, whenever we kill a wolf, and we then return either to the city or a trading post, we can collect 100 treasure per wolf that we killed. I'm glad to see it's on wolves. Wolves are, they're not that difficult to kill. Fast, dangerous because we'll encounter packs of them. But still, I'd rather have it on wolves than, say, bears or dire wolves. Alright, let's talk about the map for a little bit. So, we are this circle that we see right here. This is the city that we just left. These squiggly lines are, I think, rivers. These represent trees. We'll be in a forest if you walk into those. These represent mountains and caves therein. So we'll be in mountainous terrain upon entering those areas. These 2 things are trading posts. We will be allowed to buy supplies just as if we were in the city at these locations. I do not think, though, you can stash or retrieve any treasure from them. This is our objective. We need to get to the upper right-hand corner of this X. There will lie, in our case, the Velvet Emerald of Azop. It is, doesn't do anything for you when you get it. It's the MacGuffin. That's what we're here to get. We get it, and then we bring it back to the city. The treasure is usually guarded by 5 mummies. So that will be a... You won't be able to do that battle with the treasure that we have at the moment, or the equipment we have, because mummies are powerful undead and will require a magic weapon to actually harm them. That can come in the form of either a magic sword, which you can purchase for 3,000 gold, or perhaps if we find like a wand of fire, or a wand of cold, or a wand of disintegration, we might be able to destroy those mummies then. There's a few more things out on the map, which I will explain. We have 3 stashes and 3 streams of life. These swiggles are streams of life. If we end our movement on the right-hand side of them, we will be offered the chance to drink from them, in which case our character's life will be restored to full. There are treasure stashes, or stashes of equipment in the world as well. They're symbolized by this slash under a mountain. There's one here, and there's 2 over here. I think we'll probably go in this direction. Actually, we should probably go up north and hit this stash, and then go out this way and figure out what we're doing next. A few more things before we get going. First off, the instructions are all, you enter, you type everything you want here. I don't think the game supported a joystick. You had to use a keyboard, if I remember correctly, back on the old Commodore 64 days. Facts are our character sheet. It shows everything we could want to know about ourselves. We are level 1. We have no experience earned so far. We have a total of 7 movements. So I'll talk about this in a... Actually, well, you can see everything here. The important things in particular to note are our movement, our defense, our protection, and the total defense, armor, shield, and coat values. We also have these attack, defend, and fight values. We'll talk about them as well. And weight. I guess almost everything here is important. Level and experience matter, but not as... Well, as you gain higher levels, it begins to affect every other stat here. Defense is actually your hit points. Our certain body parts have a maximum number of hit points associated with them. If a single body part of ours is hit in combat and reduced to 0 hit points or 0 defense, we die. So if our right arm takes a single point of damage, we die. If our right leg takes 2 points of damage, we die. We have also 5 total defense. If something hit our chest for 3 hit points, and then our abdomen for 2, we would have taken 5 total defensive damage and would be killed that way as well. Our weight is comprised of all of the equipment in our inventory. That includes treasure. Every single coin of treasure is increasing our weight by 1. Or the armor is increasing our weight. Our coat is increasing our weight. It does not matter, I believe, if you are wearing it or not. It just increases your weight. Our movement is actually action points, and is used, I suppose, in a similar fashion to Underrail. If we move, or we run, or we swing our weapon at an enemy, or we try to aim to get a better chance to hit them, or we try to use force so we can take a bigger hit, when we throw a dagger, when we equip our weapons or armor, in combat, all of that will take movement points from us. We'll go over more of this later. What we're going to do to start is take a look at our inventory next. Here's everything that we brought with us. Armor, sword, foods, packs, dirks, shields, spears, and a coat. Right now, we have it. Stuff is stored in our backpack, but nothing is currently equipped. I remember the game manual for this, which had a little story about, I think, the heroine who left the city and encountered some dogs, and she forgot to equip her items before she was in combat, and she had to run away from that fight because of how long it would take her to equip those items in combat itself. And then, outside of combat, she then equipped the items. I thought it was a unique, interesting way, now that I look back at it, to warn the player, hey, while you can put this stuff on in combat, you really shouldn't. And also, the stuff you purchased, it's not normally equipped currently. So what we're going to do... Oh, actually, one more thing before this. If we type help, we can see all of the commands we can enter in the game and what their quick entries are over here. So, for example, if I wanted to look at my inventory, instead of typing inventory, we could hit F5. Alright, well, let's go ahead and begin outfitting ourselves. So we're going to go ahead and wear our armor. The game tells us okay. And now if I look at our facts, there's a few more things here to point out. First off, notice that we have protection. The value is 4 for all the areas of our body. If the enemy now strikes our chest for, let's say, 6 points of damage, 4 of it will be absorbed by our armor, and we would only take 2 points of damage to our chest. The armor also has a defensive value of 100. Every time the armor soaks damage, it will lose some hit points. When the armor's defense is reduced to 0, the armor will be destroyed. Let's go ahead and... I think it's fetch a sword. If we look at our character now, note that our attack value has increased. It's gone to 3. And our fight value has gone up. It's now 7. I think fight value might be the damage that you do, and attack might be your hit chance, or the opposite is true. Also note our defend value is 4. I don't really understand the difference between... Oh, maybe I do? There's a defend value and a protection value. I believe they're more or less the same, at least at the start of the game. But if we begin finding other pieces of gear, like a ring of protection, then those will begin increasing our protection and maybe not our defense. I'm not quite sure how that works. It's been, like, at least 8 years... Well, I did play this game last week. But I still didn't quite understand it even last week. But it's been a while since I actually had the manual in front of me. A long, long time. We're almost done, everyone. We're going to also fetch a shield. And let's go take a look at our character again. Now, notice that the shield has 40 points of defense. It didn't add anything to our protection, but it did add something to our defense value. Our fight value also went up 1 point too. Shields will block 2 points of damage, and I think the shield blocks that damage before it even gets to your protection, your armor. Just like armor, every 2 points of damage that your shield blocks is more damage that is stopped from reaching you. So now, if an enemy hit us for 6 points of damage, our shield will absorb 2, our armor would absorb 4, and we would take no damage from that attack. Finally, we'll wear our coat. And look at our facts again. Alright, notice that our defend value gained 1 more point. Our coat, or maybe a heavy cloak, is also adding 1 more point of defense value. Just like the shield and armor, it will absorb damage, and when it reaches 0 hit points, the coat will be destroyed. Alright, so we're set to go, as far as I can tell. So let's go ahead and leave the city and the sound of cars passing on the highway in the background behind, and we'll head on out and make our way towards this stash to start. So to move around the game world, we would type move north, for example. And that moves us. Yep. You can see that we'll move just about our length the length or width of our circle in distance every time we move. As a shortcut, we can type MN for move north, and ME to move east. Eventually, we will encounter something. Let's keep adventuring towards that stash until we do so. I love the sound effect it plays. when you type something wrong. There's a storm off in the distance. Now, I currently have the speed of the game set to normal. You can toggle speed between normal and fast by typing speed. I'm going to leave it on normal until we have a few rounds of combat against an enemy of some sort. This way we can read a little bit about it. But if I was to type speed... Actually, let's show you. If I type speed, the OK finishes much faster. It started to rain. And it stopped. When we're affected by rain or snow, we are forced to stay put wherever we were. The rain and snow, when it happens, will always happen in 1 hour increments. It'll never stop at like 15:25. But it is a way to slow you down. And as such, you might end up having to eat food or go through food a little faster. So make sure you have more than enough food, because if to get you to a trading post, or to the X if you're going to go super long distance the entire run. Because rain and snow will delay you. We've encountered 2 fighters. There was no treasure. Alright everyone, our first fight. So I'm going to hit speed to slow things down a bit. The way initiative works and turns work is that I believe whoever has the most movement gets to act first. And then, depending upon the action you do, different amounts of... Actually, we'll play some tutorial battle music. Let's see. The actions you perform drain your movement. Once your movement reaches 0 or lower, your turn is over, and you cannot do anything else. There is no penalty to going as negative as you wish. We could end up with like -20, for example, depending upon what we do. However, you only recover a number of movement equal to the movement value that your character has under facts. In our case, it's 7. So if we had -20 and our turn ends, we recover 7 points and we're at -14. Sorry, -13. And we still won't get a turn to act. The next turn occurs, the enemies get to do their things, our turns then goes to -6. So keep this in mind if you like what you see and you decide for some reason to pick up this game. So let's move south once. Moving takes 10 movement points. We can see that the enemies have the same amount of movements spent when they perform their actions. Everything that we saw here, that is a thing that we could do in combat, will have some amount of movement points associated with it. Now we actually started on a tree. That's interesting too. Sometimes we, ourselves, or an enemy might be on a piece of terrain to start, but you're allowed to move off of it. There's no penalty. But we cannot move into a tree normally. Oh, by the way, these little things here, this slash with the V, that's just like tall grass or reeds. You can walk into these with no problem. And there are some of these as well on the game map. I think they might also be reeds, or maybe they're swamps or something of the sort, swamp spaces. When we encounter enemies, we will always encounter a group of the same thing. It works, I suppose, like Diablo 2 in that regard, or the Dungeons & Dragons original random encounter lists, where the Dungeon Master would roll and then say, you encounter 13 wyverns. Or, oh, I'm sorry, no, that was, and all the players go, 13 wyverns, and then the Dungeon Master goes, oh, I'm sorry, I rolled a 5, not a 6. That would be actually 13 kobolds. And then all the players are like, whoo, So it's like that here as well. In our case, we encountered fighters. Okay, well anyway, so we over here for turns are represented by this Y. That stands for you. Or me. Us, in our case. We have 4 movement or action points left. And this one of these fighters, I don't remember which one was number 1, is now at -2, and the other one is at -4. So we're going to turn to the east, because currently we are facing south. All right. And I'm going to keep the speed at this speed currently. Now, we are, and that's my way of quickly saying that normally I would absolutely have turned the speed up, but I want to read the text for a little bit for the first few fights that we have. So, in combat, to use something like a sword, actually, let's look at our inventory really quick. To use our sword, which is equipped in our right hand, we would have to be adjacent to the enemy, and then we would type H for hit, or type hit. And then we will be asked, what do we want to swing at? We will do that for one of the fighters, but I think I'll also show another option for battles. We brought some dirks, and we have some spears. We can throw those. Spears and dirks have a range of up to 5 spaces, and when you throw them, they will travel in the row or column that you are in, and the direction of your facing, up until striking a tree or a boulder or an enemy. In this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This fighter, I believe, is just at 5 spaces from us. So we will throw a dirk. We hit the left leg for 10 points of force. We did 10 points of damage to the left leg. He's got a shield, so it's protected for 2 points of damage. And it tore his leg off his body, and he's quite dead. And that fighter is like, I don't care about that guy. I never liked him anyway. And moves up just a tad. Okay, so let's talk about throwing weapons versus attacking with a melee weapon. When you throw a weapon, a spear or a dagger, and it hits an enemy, it will, or rather, it arrives in the enemy's space. It will always hit them. Always. It never misses. Dirks, and thus dirks and spears are very powerful because of this. Your sword attacks can miss. Arguably, though, your sword is considered better because you can go after specific body parts on the target. Also, some enemies can only be harmed with a magic sword, or ranged wands or rings or something of that sort. In any case, we're going to move to the west, and we'll slug it out with this fighter. But I'm going to run north to start. Running requires 12 movement, and moving in a direction takes 10 movement. It is more efficient for you to run if you're looking to gain distance at the cost of, well, slightly more movement points spent. Let's turn to the south. And I'm going to type force. This would make it so that if the next time I swing my sword, I believe will hit for extra points of damage. I can't remember if we have to swing our sword in the same round, though. I don't think we do. When attacking an enemy, or being attacked by an enemy, actually, let's move south. We don't have to declare the body part that we are attacking, but we will in the vast majority of our swings. We could say, for example, hit abdomen, and our character will attempt to swing at the abdomen of this fighter. Whatever defense that area has will try to block our damage, and then any leftover damage will be applied to it. We could hit its left leg, or its right arm, or its head, or its neck. Most creatures, the neck has the least amount of defense, but the less defense an area has, the tougher it tends to be to actually hit it. Hitting the neck is very difficult for a level 1 hero, ourselves, for example. So it's probably in our better interest to go for a leg or its chest. If you don't care, though, about the body part that you're attacking, the easiest part to strike is the body. That's not the chest, it's not the abdomen, it just means just attack the easiest part to hit, take away its total defense. I don't care about the particular body part at the moment, in which case we would hit the body. Our body, for example, has 5 hit points. We see that here with our total defense. But no single body part of us has 5 total defense. Alright, so let's go ahead and try to hit his right leg. Alright, here we go. Let's see if we hit him. We missed. He's turning. Now, we are of equal movement, and so the player will get to go first. Let's try hitting his left arm. We missed again. He's going for our head! Woo! He missed us. Now he's going to have action points. He's going for our neck! Oh my god! He's like an executioner. No! Oh no! 7 points of damage! Our shield stopped 2, so we blocked some of that. Our coat blocked 1. Our armor stopped 4. And as such, because he inflicted 7 points of damage, all of it was blocked by our equipment. Thankfully. If we weren't wearing our coat, J-Dirk would be dead, because that would be 1 point of damage to hit our neck, reducing our next defense to 0, and that's the end of us. Let's hit his head. Oh, we missed our chest. Alright, so we're dancing around with this fighter. Fighters are the weakest of the human warrior classes you will encounter. I think it's fighters, warriors, and lords are the enemies we'd fight that look a lot like us. Let's try to hit his abdomen. 12 points of damage! He's got a shield only, so he stopped 2. We hit him for 9. And he's dead. Spilled his guts out over the ground. The encounter is over. Checking for advancement. This means, did we level? We made a new level. Alright, we'll take a look at our facts right after this. There was no treasure. It started to rain. Do I have rain? The night has come, and we have camped. Nothing disturbs your rest. You can be interrupted if you're sleeping. It's basically just it's an encounter, more or less like what we just had. So, it's another chance that you'll fight something. All right, and we woke up. It's now the next day. So, let's play some more music again. Alright, so let's go ahead and... Okay. First, we've been in this spot now for a little bit. We had the fight with the fighters. We won. We leveled. Let's take a look at our character. We're now level 2. Notice how much experience we have. 4,999. You're not allowed to level twice in a single fight. So this means that the next battle we do, as long as we killed one with whatever it is on the other an enemy, we will gain enough level to level 3. Our movement actually increased very slightly, but this is probably because we threw a dirk, more than we've actually gained movement, but you will gain movement as you level. Our fight value also improved. It's now at 10. Notice that our armor, shield, and coat defenses have all been reduced. They kept us alive by protecting our neck. Notice that our total defense has increased by 5 points, and each individual body part also has now has more defense. As I go and check to make sure I'm still recording. Yes, we are. All right, so let's go ahead, and the very next thing we should do is eat. If you move and forget to eat, you will suffer 1 defensive damage. It comes from your overall defense, not from any particular part. But your overall defense affects each individual part of your defense as well. At some point during this adventure, I am absolutely going to forget to eat. In which case, I'll try to remember to show you how that impacted us. We threw a dirk in that battle, and it killed one of those fighters, shearing off his leg. J-Dirk is amazing at using daggers. That dagger is still here, but we did not automatically pick it up. To get things that are in this area from either treasure that you found or things that you have thrown in combat, we can type G or type get. We'd have to do that for every single thing, I believe, that is here. In this case, we got 1 thing, and that would be the dirk. Let's go look at ourselves again. And our movement is back down to 7. So indeed, the 1 single dirk is stopping us from having 8 movement. We only still have 7. All right, well, let's keep moving. Let's go north. Oop, apparently I didn't specify direction. Move north. Started to rain. Crap! I have all sorts of wrong things here. Do I have distant rain. Oh, I have rain in woods. We can play this for a bit. Alright, let's keep moving north. Notice, by the way, the terrain has changed to M. We are now in the mountains. 3 wolves. No treasure. Oh, crap. The wolves are right on top of us. So I don't want to get surrounded by wolves. Let's run to the west. We'll move west again. Now, when it comes to creatures, when it comes to things like wolves, you can tell which direction they are facing when it comes to up or down by the direction that their tails are pointing in. This wolf is facing to the... It looks like it's facing to the right, but it's actually facing north. We're going to move north. And I'm going to run to the west. Okay, we turn to the east. And we'll have to slug it out with this wolf. So let's try hitting its left foreleg. 16 points of damage. Wolves apparently have 1 defense. Let's throw a dirk at this wolf. In the neck for 12 points. J-Dirk. That's disgusting. Well done. That wolf's going to come from our south. Let's turn south and wait for it. Now, a key part of the strategy for these battles is that you want to end your turn with as little... you want your movement, electrical movement, to be as close to 0 as possible. If not, you want to be 0. So I'm going to hit X for force, and X again for more force. Each time I use force, it's 2 action points. And now we have 10 left. Let's J another dirk. Go, J-Dirk! Left foreleg for 22 points of damage. The encounter is over. Checking for advancement, you made a new level. There was no treasure. But we did throw 2 daggers. Let's get them back again. And this is working so well. I'm gonna go ahead and save a snapshot. There we go. I am using an emulator for this. I'm using Vice. As for the ROM itself, for many years now, I'll say, yeah, decades, I have kept a series of ROMs from computer to computer. When I build new ones, I put these ROMs on it. These disk images from a Commodore 64 back when I was in college. So that would be around the year 1998 or 1999 when I had grabbed quite a few of them at the time. I have no clue where you would get them these days, everyone. I'm so sorry. I don't even think... I don't even know if the Warrior Ras III is even available. In any case, we won. And we killed 3 wolves. That's 300 treasure, potential treasure, which we could get by going back to the city or going to one of the trading posts. Now, I'm not going to want that treasure until I've killed quite a few more wolves. I would like 3,000 total treasure so we can purchase a magic sword. Until we have that, I'm going to try to stay away from trading posts. All right, let's move to the west. We'll eat. Move to the north. 1 wolf, no treasure. He's all the way in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. So to make this... okay, so let's talk about the balance of the game for a little bit, right? I mean, you guys have seen how powerful throwing items are. Throwing items are extremely powerful in this game. Even right up and right close to an enemy. You're better off throwing a weapon than you are trying to hit it in melee. Like, here we go. We'll throw a dirk. It can't miss the wolf. Now, the damage spread, though, is quite wide for spears and daggers. We could hit it for 1 point of damage. We could hit it for 26 points of damage, depending upon if we threw a spear or a dirk, for example. And did I remember to pick up those other dirks? I might not have. I did, okay. So, once we hit level, we'll say level 5, every time I'm engaged with an enemy group and I decide to throw a weapon of some sort, I will leave one of those weapons, a dirk or a spear, behind. I won't pick it up. And this way, eventually, I will be forced to either resupply or I will be forced to engage these creatures in melee combat, which is much more risky for us. We've already seen that we almost died to the first group of enemies that we encountered. You've come to one of the caches of the wizard. If you wish, you can get numerous items here. So, if we get stuff from here, the stash will be gone. But we're going to go ahead and pick up all this stuff. Let's first eat. I'm eating because there's lots of food here, but we're going to get everything that's here. And then we'll take a look at our inventory and see what we want to keep and what we want to get rid of. So first off, if I go to my facts, notice our movement has now dropped to 6. We've picked up enough stuff here that our movement is being negatively impacted. If we look at our inventory, what did we get? We got a second sword, a second shield, and a potion of etherealness. That will make it so that we cannot be harmed by creatures if we drink it. It's like a potion of invulnerability. I think we can move through trees and boulders as well. We also picked up 35 days of food. Now, I think with the potion of etherealness, we also can't hurt anything else either. And I don't think we can throw dirks or spears. We're going to just drop a bunch of this food. Unfortunately, we have to type it this way. Oh, D is drink. All right, drop food. What's drop? Drop is B. Oh, what is food? F-O. So if I say B-F-O, a B-F, best friends. So we're going to drop quite a bit of the food we just picked up. We don't need all of it. And we'll make a line for a different stash all the way on the right-hand side of the screen now. The one below that other trading post. We're gonna go here. Each of these stashes has either a wand, a ring, or a potion at it, in addition to another sword and another shield. We want to drop all this food. Quite a bit of it. How much food do we have left? I really only want like 16 food. So we'll drop another 5 food, I think. That should be good. We'll keep 20. And let me make sure we still have 7 movement. Ugh. Still 6 movement. Alright, well we'll stay with 6 movement at the moment. Oh god, 3 dire wolves, and they're close to us. Dire wolves are very difficult compared to, say, normal wolves. We're going to try to run away. To flee an encounter, you must make it to the edge of the map. Any edge will do, and if you can make it to the edge of the map and then cross over it, you will have fled from the encounter. Now, unlike you, when a creature runs, it is actually able to run... it's able to move one space. It's able to move... sorry. When we run, like run south, we are forced to run twice in the same direction. 2 spaces south. The AI can pivot. It can move 1 south and 1 west, for example, if it wanted to. You have escaped. The encounter is over. There was no advancement, and there was no treasure. Night has come, and you have camped. Nothing disturbs your rest. Dawn comes, and you can travel. Alright, let's eat. I'll check my inventory again. So, I think what we're going to do is we're going to drop a shield. And we'll also drop a sword. Now, when you drop items, if I recall correctly, you drop the ones you had equipped in your hands to start. Then we're going to refetch a sword and fetch a new shield. Okay, back up to 7 movement. Now, I'm going to do something I think a little odd, but it's not going to be odd at all, and you'll see why in our next battle. And I'm going to drop our armor. I wanted to buy armor to show you guys how armor works, and it kept us alive against that fighter. But if we had a little more movement, we might have been able to avoid fighting the fighter in melee altogether. Armor weighs quite a bit, and so I'm going to leave this behind. Oh, that's a B. B armor. Yep, no longer having it. So we're still wearing our cloak. We got a shield and a sword. Oh, and as you've noticed, by the way, we can have a sword equipped and still throw a dirk. I'm guessing that our shield is small enough that it's not like a heavy kite shield. It's maybe like something like a buckler. And so we're able to use our hand to reach down and to take a dagger from our belt and throw it. The same thing with spears. If I go to facts, notice our movement is now 9. We've picked up 2 more points of movement. I'm going to eat because I don't remember if I did that this morning. Alright, well, let's head on over to another one of the stashes. 5 wolves, no treasure. I think the highest amount of creatures you will encounter are in fact 5 things. So this is a bit dangerous because we have 9 movement now, which is much better than 7, if I'm being honest. But these wolves have 12 movement, so they're still faster than us. It's still a little too far away from us to throw a dagger, that one to our right. Let's turn to the east. It'll get a chance to move toward us. And now it's in range, so we can do J. Dirk's namesake. Right in the neck. 6 points of damage. Wolf 2 is defeated. What was that? Tim, why aren't you throwing your spears? That's a good question. We'll throw a spear next. Let's move to the east. It's outside the range of our weapons. Let's actually show you. So if I was to throw another dirk, we missed because it was outside the weapon range. Those gray dots indicate that one of the items we have thrown is located there. So let's try throwing a spear. Left hind leg for 10 points of force. Wolf 1 is defeated. And good for them. I'm going to run to the west. Move west. I don't want to get surrounded. And if I moved north once to get this guy within a... if I try to align myself such that I could throw a dagger and hit the wolf, I'd be worried about being surrounded. Let's turn to the north. And I'm going to aim. And let's throw a spear at this one. I don't know which direction this wolf's going to arrive from. Let's hit X and see if... I think it's probably going to go west. That's annoying. It's being very clever. I don't want to move north. I'm just going to hit X again. Let's aim, which will bring us to 5 action points. And throw a dirk. Neck for 6 points of damage. Kills the wolf. And... I think we aim and hit X for force. Aiming and, to my knowledge, force do nothing for your for the things you throw. And I think this is our last dirk. The encounter is over. We made a new level. There was no treasure. Alright, let's get all those weapons we left behind. We'll take a look at our facts. We'll go ahead and make another snapshot. How are we looking? 11 movement points. So when we hit level 4, we gained another 2 movement, I think. At this point, I kind of wish we still had the armor. We've also killed, I think, 10 wolves. So that's 1,000 bounty waiting for us. We have 200 treasure on us. So we need another 1,800 treasure in the form of more wolves or actual treasure, which we haven't seen any of yet. Check my inventory again. Once I hit level 5, I am indeed going to leave a single thrown weapon behind. And this will eventually force me to have to resupply. And or have to fight enemies in melee. If I throw anything. 1 wolf. No treasure. That's a bit awkward because this is actually going to level me to level 5, I suspect. Alright, let's run south. Darn it. And once I hit level... So after this fight, we're going to be leaving Dirks or spears behind. Alright, wolf. Let's see how much you like having a dirk in your face. In the neck! Take it! Encounter is over. Checking for advancement. Made a new level. There was no treasure. You see the rotting forms of ogres. We'll get some flavor text like that occasionally. Alright, we're level 5. Crap. I didn't actually think. I didn't actually think that we would be level 5 so quickly when I made that earlier statement. But it's too late now. Let's save another snapshot. We've got like another 5 minutes. We've been playing the game for an hour. Let's... my inventory again. We have... how much money? Only 390, I think. Back at town. I'm trying to go... right now, my mind's thinking, okay, Tim, if you said you're going to have to resupply, then you're going to have to risk walking into a trading post and suddenly being weighted down with a bunch of treasure if you end up running out of dirks or spears. We'll be okay. We'll be okay. Let me look at my facts again. Yeah, we're looking pretty good here for our total hit points. All it takes, though, all it will take is a wolf hitting us in the neck, and we're dead. That, even though we're level 5, if that fighter, that same fighter with the first battle that we did, hit us in the neck for 7 points of damage, right now, because we drop our armor, that would kill us. So we are, even though it looks like we're very strong, and we are much stronger, we still will die if something hits us extra hard in a spot where we can't be hit, where we are extra soft. Two lions, no treasure. Lions, I think, are the first creature we're fighting that have 3 defense on their body parts. I'm going to not bother fighting them. There's no treasure that they're guarding. We'll leave them alone. Now, we're getting hungry. All right, so we need to eat. There's an example of an instance where the game is telling us you're going to have to eat a second time today. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes you will go through an entire day without needing to eat a second time. 2 skeletons, no treasure. Okay, we'll duke it out with these. Skeletons are amongst the weaker of the undead you can fight in this game. That's a bit awkward, but thank you, skeleton. It ran up to us, so it moved once instead of twice, and then it turned north, which I don't think it should have done. Oh, I forgot to even talk about this. There is one thing that would stop me from actually... well, I think we can use a spear in combat, in melee combat. Melee weapons that you use will eventually break. Swords and magic swords, they will break. Let's aim. And he's probably facing us. Let's hit his abdomen. Magic swords, in particular, seem to have less durability than normal swords. 2 ghouls, more undead. I think if ghouls touch you, there's a chance that you will be paralyzed. We'll try fighting these. Sorry, I'm not talking because I'm really super nervous. Okay, I want to move west instead of turning south. Okay, the main reason I did that is because I was pretty sure that was the one that had 3 movement. And if I swing at this one and we miss, the ghoul will turn north, and we'll get to go first next round, and we can run away if we don't kill it. Let's hit its abdomen. 10 points of damage, 2 blocked, killed it. Let's run north. I will move east. Okay, we can try. Let's try hitting its right arm. Then we run south. bravely run south. Let's turn north and aim. It's probably going to move to the west. And let's try hitting its left leg. Woo! Woo! The encounter is over. Checking for advancement, you made a new level. There was no treasure. Night has come, and we have camped. Nothing disturbs your rest. Dawn comes, and you can travel. Let's eat. Facts. 11 movement. Okay. Alright, well, we've been playing for an hour, everyone. So I think we'll stop here. And we will pick this up in the next video, where we will make our way to these 2 caches and give them a good search. Hopefully we'll finally find some treasure. We haven't found any treasure yet. And we'll see how that works. And we'll maybe kill a few more wolves if we're super lucky to get more bounty ready for us when we arrive at one of these locations. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care, everyone.